Hey guys, I want to go ahead and talk about polynomial long division and a couple of strategies here. If you notice, we're going to go ahead and just do the algorithm. So we have 5x cubed plus 2x squared minus x plus 1 divided by this guy. And the thing that you want to remember when you're doing these, well, if you notice the top goes inside, this guy goes out. But you have to write it in descending order. That means the exponents have to go down in order. So x cubed, x squared, and then x. And actually, we'll do a second example where there's the middle terms are missing, and there's a special way we do that. So when we have this guy here, we want to look at the leading exponent here. We have x and 5x cubed. So what do we need in order to get a 5x cubed? Well, we need to go ahead and multiply by 5x squared. And that's going to go ahead and give us 5x squared times x. That's going to go ahead and give us 5x cubed. And then we also have to multiply this back one here. So that's going to give me plus 10x squared. Now remember, just like you did in elementary school, you're going to go ahead and subtract this. So we have to put a minus there. And that's going to go ahead and subtract 5 minus 5. So that simplifies. And then 2 minus 10, that is negative 8. That's negative 8 squared. Remember, we're subtracting so we don't touch these exponents. You bring down the next guy, which is a negative x. And then we go ahead and do the same thing. We have x and negative 8x squared. And so what do we need to get a negative 8x squared? Well, we need a negative, we need an 8, and we need another x. So what happens? Negative 8x times x matches up exactly with negative 8x squared. And then negative 8x times 2 gives you negative 16x. Put that in parentheses, and of course we're going to subtract that. So remember, you always have to subtract. A lot of students forget that. So now we have negative and negative, that becomes a positive. So negative 8 simplifies with this guy. And then negative 1, negative and negative. So negative 1 plus 16 is 15x. And then lastly, bring down the last one over here, that 1. And then what do we need if we have an x? Well, we need a positive 15. Well, x times 15, that's going to give me 15x. X times 2, that's going to give me 30. Same thing again, we're going to go ahead and subtract. And this guy simplifies, so 1 minus 30 is negative 29. And that's your remainder. So what do you do with the remainder? Well, you write it as a fraction. So you write it as, you can do minus 29 over, and your remainder is over your denominator. Stays the same. So this would be your solution, 5x squared minus 8x plus 15, and that's my remainder. And sometimes you're going to have this second problem where you have coefficients, the degrees missing in the middle. So you're going to do the same thing, x plus 1. Okay. Now remember, we have to go ahead in descending order, but I don't have an x squared, so I have to go ahead and add a 0x squared just for place value. I have to add a 0x, and then I put my negative 1. Very important, so don't forget you got to put these zeros in the middle. So we do the same thing, x cubed, well, we're going to need an x squared. X squared times x, that's x cubed. X squared times 1, that's a positive 1x squared. And now you see why we need to put that 0, so we can have that place value there. So when we subtract, we get 0 minus 1, negative 1. Remember, you leave the exponent, bring down the next guy. Well, that's a positive 0x. So we have x times this guy, or what do we need to get this guy? We need a negative 1, negative 1x, and that becomes negative 1x squared minus 1x. Same thing, we're going to go ahead and subtract. Well, this guy simplifies out. 0 plus 1, negative, and negative is a positive, so that's 1x. And lastly, bring down that negative 1. And now we have x. We're going to need a positive 1. 1 times x is 1x. 1 times 1, well, that's a positive 1. And this guy, when we subtract, actually it's going to have a remainder. Negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2. That's going to be my remainder. It's going to go up here. Minus 2 over x plus 1. Alright guys, so very important, just make sure when you have these middle terms that are missing, you put the zeros, and hopefully that was helpful. Alright guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye.